I am going to close today's episode of Humanity vs. Insanity with a short video, because another part of the fraud that's being perpetrated is to establish a raft of global legislation which will actually be superior to national legislation. And if the TTIP, which is the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, and of course the other side of the world, it's the Trans-Pacific Partnership, if this comes into being, then it will be a raft of legislation that is even more controlling than the legislation of the sovereign state. So I want to show you the magnitude of the efforts that those who are drafting this legislation will go to prevent anybody from doing any research into that legislation and therefore passing any objective comment, and certainly not being able to establish any meaningful opposition. And this is a short video produced by an Irish MEP by the name of Ming. And this is the video that he made when he made an effort to get in to review the text of the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. Now take a look at this.
I'm on my way down to the reading room, the TTIP reading room, where I'm going to get to view 3 different consolidated texts. This is their idea of democratic oversight. The texts I'm going to view, they have already been decided on by the United States and by the European Union, and now I get a chance to read them. And it's important to point out that all I do is get a chance to read them. I'll get a pen with paper that they provide me with, and I have to take down the details. I'm not allowed to bring in a camera to photograph the documents. I'm not allowed to bring in a tape recorder to record reading them out. All I'm allowed to do is bring in a pen and to write it down. Now, anyone who's gone in there before, those that I've talked to, they've said they come out none the wiser. Who knows? This is really just a test run, and we'll be going in again and again over the next few weeks on issues to do with agriculture and many other areas. So, I'll head now. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
What exactly is the procedure?
You must leave your mobile telephones and electronic devices in the cupboard that is there.
I must leave it where?
In the cupboard. I'm going to come.
Oh, I must leave these in the cupboard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Come with me. Keep your mobile telephone and electronic devices.
Are you going to lock it in here?
Yes, it's going to be locked during the consultation. I will remain with you during all the period of the consultation.
You will remain with me during all the period of the consultation?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
There is still one little document that you should sign before you come in. Is the security briefing form. We have not yet received it from you. If you don't mind.
No, Grant, yeah. Well, I do mind, but a bit like if someone had kidnapped my children, they put a form in front of me and said, sign it or you'll never see your children again. I've been told, sign this form or no MEP will ever see these documents again. That's what gangsters do, the mafia does. But then again, it is a bit like the mafia, isn't it? Anyway.
It's the instructions we have.
Oh, I fully understand. And thank you for cooperating in this, because this is a very important exercise for democracy, so that people actually know how this works.
Yeah.
I am now signing to say I will not tell the people who elected me in detail what's in this room.
It's here on your left. This time we do very quickly because otherwise the alarm will.
I have to do it quickly
Well,
because
otherwise the alarm is going to.
the alarm is going to go off. And what happens if the alarm goes off?
If the alarm is ring,
Yeah?
the security comes.
And the security comes. And what happens if the security comes?
They want to know why the alarm rings.
Okay, all right.
So we must go into the room.
We have to go in very quickly.
Yes.
In case anyone who voted for me might see something they're not meant to see. It's very interesting.
Please.
How could you not want to be part of this union? Wouldn't you be crazy not to be? I've got another solemn, it seems like a disgusting use of the word solemn, but a solemn declaration to sign. And as I explained earlier, I can only take handwritten notes. But it appears now that if I write down the documents verbatim, and then I make their contents known verbatim, I will potentially prevent any other MEP ever seeing these documents again. Now, I've asked for clarification because I understood, flawed and all as it was, that I could go in with my pencil, as Bertie Ahern called it, and I could write the whole thing down. But I am not allowed to accurately write it down. So, as an MEP, I'm being asked to do a dodgy job of transcribing this, and then that'll be okay. I've also been told that I can tell it in my own words. Well, if I choose that my own words be identical to the words on these, I'll have broken some law. Welcome to the European Union. Welcome to the heart of Europe. We're at the heart of Europe now.
So much for transparency, and of course that serves to remind us as to why it's so crucial that the European Communities Act of 1972 is repealed at the earliest possible opportunity. Article 50 is just a bit of a sideshow. So let's understand, we are in the process in the UK of regaining our national sovereignty, of being able to hold UK politicians, not faceless bureaucrats, UK politicians to account. Over the next decade or so, here's a few things that I'd like to see happen. An outright ban on all unconventional hydrocarbon exploitation, i.e. fracking. The abolition of the fractional reserve banking system. There's a good reason why that might occur in the next decade or so, because the global economic system as it stands is on the point of collapse. It's being held up by blue tack, sticky tape and chewing gum. So we may see that collapse and we may have an opportunity to establish something completely different, i.e. a real economy based on real national wealth. And also a realization of the legal fraud. Whether or not we can see the abolition and replacement of Cestui qui vie in the next decade remains to be seen. That may be a stretch too far, but who knows? People are waking up to this on an exponential basis. And like I said, don't take anything I say at face value, and don't let anyone tell you it's a nonsense. Leave them to one side. If they're not ready to see this, if they're not ready to comprehend the magnitude of the fraud that's been perpetrated on humanity for millennia, then leave them to it. They'll come to it in their own time, and that may not necessarily be in this lifetime. It's all to play for. I, for one, am looking forward to the next decade and beyond, and I hope you'll join me on future episodes of Humanity versus Insanity. Thanks a lot.